Do you wait for everything to be perfect and lined up straight before you make a choice? How hard are you trying to get everything in your life right? What if jumping in and getting messy is one of the ways to find out what works for you? Discover how being willing to mess up can create the phenomenal life you truly desire. Get ready to quit judging and start embracing all of your messy adventures. Now, here's your host, self-declared messy living expert, Petrina Fava.
Hey, you. Hi, welcome to Messy Adventures in Living. Thank you for joining us here today. Thanks for listening. My name is Petrina Fava, and I'm your host for the next hour on Messy Adventures in Living. Is this your first time listening? If it is, here's a little blurb about me and the show. Messy Adventures in Living is a radio show where we talk about all kinds of different topics and where we talk about things that encourage you to question and to challenge points of view and to get messy with your life, to jump in and not wait for everything to be perfect and lined up straight before you begin living. I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of my life making sure everything is perfect before I make any choices, and it doesn't really work, and it's not really fun. So I would like to embrace something different and invite you to come along with me. So thanks for being here. I am a whole bunch of things. I play in a bunch of different areas in life. I'm a mom of 3 kids. They're 12 and 9 and 6. And they keep me hopping. And I'm also a registered nurse here in Toronto. I am a pediatric nurse. I have been for almost 19 years now, and I have fun playing in that area. I'm also an access consciousness bars and body process facilitator. I learned about some cool tools called from a modality called access consciousness about 6 years ago, and I've been using them in my own life to change things, to create my life the way I would really like it to be, to question a whole bunch of different points of view. They're fun, and I like to share them, and we will probably be talking about them on this show. If you're interested in finding out more about access consciousness, you can go to accessconsciousness.com. I also like to play in the kitchen, but not really cooking food very much. I like to make my own bath and body products, and they are called Naturally Happy Body. You can find those at naturallyhappybody.com, and you can find out more about me at petrinafava.com. So, what are we playing with today? What's our show about today? The title of our show today is called Chameleons Aren't Inauthentic, They're Smart. Have you ever heard of a chameleon with an identity crisis? Do you think other animals accuse them of being flakes because they change their colors to suit the world around them? No. Then why are you beating yourself up for faking it once in a while? Ever consider the possibility that in certain circumstances, blending in might actually be a contribution or a way to manipulate someone into choosing something greater for themselves? It may be a capacity that you have. It certainly would create more ease for you, but you wouldn't want that, would you? If you're convinced that you must, at all times, show your most true self in every moment, you might just be missing opportunities to blend in and change the world ever so quietly. So if that makes you smile, if you're getting this little sneaky smile on your face, I wonder how long have you been a chameleon and made yourself wrong for it? And do you actually enjoy being the chameleon? And do you enjoy sneakily changing the world? If you do, glad you're joining us for the ride this hour. All right, so what is this all about? What does this bring up for you guys? So for a long time in my life, I made myself wrong for being fickle or not one way, or I made myself wrong for changing my mind a lot, or for changing who I was, within air quotes. And I thought I didn't know who I was. I was like, who am I, and why can't I just be myself? I kept asking myself as a young teenager, how can I be myself if I don't even know who I am? Right? Has any of that ever come up for you? And it was specifically because I kept changing who I was. I kept changing who I was. or I thought that's what I was doing. I was not just one way. I was always different. And as I explored the world around me, I realized that I could be a little bit of everything. And I looked around and I saw that my friends were defined. You know, I was in high school and I saw that my friends were either, rockers or goths, or they liked, pop music, or they were, the cute ones, or they were the nerds, or they were the smart ones. And I looked around and I saw definition all around me, and I was like, I see a little bit of myself in all of those, but I don't fit into one. And I made myself wrong. So how about you guys? Did you do that too? So what if it's not wrong that you change all the time? And what if actually it's a capacity to be more than one thing, and those other people who are slotting themselves into one definition, how happy are they? And actually, do they want to be slotted into one definition, or do they feel like that's what they have to do to fit into this reality? The other aspect of this topic that I really want to look at is the idea of authenticity. So as I grew up and I started to do some energy work and really look at, the area of spiritual growth and self-help and all that kind of thing, I really started to explore this idea of authenticity. Being your true self, being yourself, being all of you, being yourself no matter who likes you, being willing to be judged, and all of these awesome things, which are very cool. And I think somewhere the idea of authenticity has become twisted a little bit and turned into something else that is not exactly a contribution to our lives and not necessarily a contribution to changing the world. So that's what I would like to explore a little bit of today. Authenticity, what is it exactly and what is it not? And how can we embrace the chameleon that we really be without judging ourselves for being fickle or fake? Or, where have we made ourselves wrong for blending in? So let's look at some words, shall we? So on Messy Adventures in Living, we like to look at words because I like to look at etymology online, an etymology online dictionary, because it tells me a lot about the original meaning of words when they were originally created, and it really speaks to the energy of what the word when it was intended to mean when it was first created. And sometimes over centuries we've twisted meanings of words, so it's always fun and interesting. Word nerds are sexy. Hey, if you guys want to join us in the chat room, please do so. I'm just looking at my playmates in the chat room now. You can go to the A2Zen.fm website and click on the chat room link at the top right-hand corner. It's red. You can click on it and enter a name, fake or not. You can enter a chameleon name, haha, and play with us in the chat room, or you can call in and talk to us live and ask questions live, or listen live as well. Alrighty, so what exactly is a chameleon, in case you don't know? So a chameleon, right, is an animal that has the ability to change its colors in order to blend in with its environment. And it does this to keep itself safe from predators. Right? So in nature, that's what a chameleon is. It's a lizard-like animal that is generally like brown or green. And I don't know actually, but it has the ability to change its colors depending on what its environment is. So if it's in a tree, it can change its colors to brown and green to make itself look like it's part of the tree. If it's in a field of red flowers, it can change its colors to match the red flowers so that it blends in and predators don't see it, and therefore it prevents itself from being eaten, right? So that's what a chameleon is in nature. When I looked up chameleon, it also talks about, in a figurative sense, a variable person. A variable person. So when we're talking about being a chameleon and blending in order to create a change in the world, we're not really talking about being a chameleon in order to hide. And I think this is where some of the negative connotation around being a chameleon in life or being variable kind of starts to come in. So the idea that we should be our most authentic selves really means, you should be your authentic self without worrying about judgment from others. So in nature, the chameleon is changing its colors in order to blend in to avoid being eaten. And so I think this is part of why we resist being this kind of person that changes itself. Because the underlying message is that if you're doing that, it's because you're trying to avoid judgment. And because you're trying to not get eaten by the judgment of the world. So let's clear some energy, okay? So everywhere you have decided that being a chameleon and blending in means that you are succumbing to the judgment of others, can you destroy and uncreate that point of view? All right, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so that thing that I just said is called the clearing statement. It is a tool in Access Consciousness that's used to clear a whole bunch of energy when it comes up when you talk about something. It is a collection of words that has a very long, extensive meaning. It's short form. It's not really important to go into right now. So if you have questions about it, it actually has its own website. You can go to theclearingstatement.com and check out what it means. We're going to be using it a little bit on this show. So everywhere, we're going to do it again. Everywhere you've decided that being a chameleon and changing your colors to suit the world around you means that you are succumbing to the judgment of others, will you destroy and uncreate all of that? Okay, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So what if that's not true? What if that's not true? So what else? A variable person. So a chameleon is a variable person. Where have we decided that being variable is wrong? Where have we decided that being variable is wrong? So for me, I think back to high school. I can easily think back to high school when I was looking around and finding myself, judging myself for being variable because I decided that I had to fit into a group. So I decided that I had to be a particular thing. Because the underlying message is that if you're variable, if you're a little bit of everything, then you're actually nothing. Okay, so have you decided that if you are not defined, then it means you're not anything, and everything that is can we destroy and not create at all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. We're actually going to take an early break. You are listening to Messy Adventures in Living with myself, Petrina Fava. We're talking about chameleons today. Chameleons are not inauthentic; they are smart. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on A2Zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions, or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Today we are talking about chameleons, and chameleons are not inauthentic. They're smart. So today we are going to tap into the chameleons that we are and embrace the capacity that is, rather than judging the shit out of ourselves for being fickle, for being fake, for being inauthentic. So it's time for chameleons to own their capacities and to be willing to use their capacities and to acknowledge how being a chameleon is a capacity that can actually change the world. So, I really feel like this wrongness around shape-shifting and like being different and being flexible and being variable, the wrongness underneath all of that really comes from twisting this idea of authenticity into something that it's not. So, yes, absolutely be your authentic self. Be all of you. Be everything that you are. Be your true self. Don't worry about people's judgment. But be willing to be everything that you are. Being you doesn't mean being one thing. Being you doesn't mean being one thing. So if you look at a chameleon, the animal, the chameleon, what color is it? Is it only brown? Is it only green? When it's being red and purple and blue, is it fake? No. The chameleon is all colors. The chameleon is red and blue and green and brown and red and blue and purple and pink and whatever the hell color it wants to be. Whatever is going to create the greatest for the chameleon in the moment. The chameleon doesn't go around thinking it has to be authentic and it has to be green and brown all the time. Otherwise it's being fake, because if it did, it would get eaten. And if it did, it wouldn't create change. It wouldn't create. It would be dead. So where have you decided that in order to be authentic, you have to be one way, that there's a one you, that there's the one true authentic self, and everything that is, everywhere you bought into the idea of the one true authentic self, and that you decided you have to be that one way, and that's the way that's going to change you, and that's the way that you're going to change the world, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that shit that is such a lie? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. We don't have to be one way. We can change, and we can change to adapt to our environment. And when we do that, it does not mean that we are being inauthentic. What happens is we start to buy the lie and we start to judge ourselves. So it's kind of like acting, right? Like, does the actor judge that they're inauthentic? The actor knows when they're acting. Right? I mean, I'm not an actress, so I guess I can't speak to it. But, in general, the actor or the actress knows that they're acting. So are you willing to be the actor and the actress that you truly be, so that not in an effort, not in a way to be fake, not in a way to avoid judgment, not in a way to please other people, but in a way that's subtle and I want to say sneaky, but sneaky in a fun way, right? Like, and who says sneaky is bad? Can we destroy and uncreate all that? Everywhere you decided that sneaky is bad, can you please destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Would you be willing to change the colors of you to blend in and create change while blending in and surprising all those people around you with the change that you're creating? And everything that does not allow you to do that, will you please destroy and uncreate all? Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. There's a lot of energy on this topic. Holy cow. How long have you guys been making yourselves wrong for being variable, for changing all the time? And how much have you been made wrong, I'll just say it, by the metaphysical community in general, for being inauthentic, for having to find your true self, and for owning your true self, which is not wrong, but where have you decided that that is one thing? It's not. You can be everything. You can be all colors. The chameleon, the real colors of the chameleon are not green and brown. The chameleon is red, is blue, is purple. The chameleon chooses what colors it desires to be in any moment based on what's happening and creates its life that way. It's awesome, and it sounds like fun, right? It's fun to change. It's fun to choose something different every day. And guess what? You can actually really change the world by doing that. I almost think of it as being an undercover cop, right? An undercover cop changes his or her appearance, changes his or her behavior to fit in with the environment, with the crowd that they're in order to gain information, in order to find out what's happening, in order to play a role, in order to infiltrate and create a change. So it's kind of like being an undercover cop too. So everywhere you are unwilling to be the undercover cop of consciousness that is going to create change in this world like nothing else, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, chameleons and undercover cops we are. Yes, we are. All right. So, when I actually looked up the word authentic and in the etymology online dictionary, and it says one acting on one's own authority, which is cool, right? One acting on one's own authority. But then it also said authoritative and according to law or rule, according to canonical rule. So according to a law or rule, which I thought was kind of weird because, acting on one's own authority, but then also according to a law or rule. And when I read it, actually, the energy that came up around that, when I read that particular sentence, was an energy of superiority. And I'm wondering where we have twisted authenticity, right? In the metaphysical community, when we talk about energy and we talk about changing our lives, and everywhere I'm doing separation of metaphysical community and not metaphysical community. Okay, well, just please destroy and uncreate all that. Oh God, right and wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so, where have we twisted the idea of being authentic and being your true self into, where have we decided that that's better than, or greater, or more conscious, or more evolved than people who are not being their true selves, or people who are not quote-unquote authentic, whatever you think that means, like a chameleon. So what energy of superiority is covering the real meaning of authenticity? And how is that stopping us from embracing everything that we truly be by telling us that it's superior to be authentic? And, what do you know? Like, do you know people who claim to be authentic or who talk a lot about authenticity? And, is there a funky energy underneath it when they're talking? Are they actually doing superiority? So everywhere we have misidentified and misapplied authenticity, misidentified and misapplied superiority as authenticity. And everywhere we've misidentified and misapplied authenticity as superiority, can we please destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. Well, what else? What else about chameleons? There's something about pushing. I read a quote that said, authenticity is not rude. It's about being real. If I'm being my authentic self, like, there's this energy of like, I'm going to be my authentic self no matter what. And I don't care if you think it's rude, but I'm being all of me. So too bad, you have to deal with it. It's a really pushy energy, and it's a really superior energy to go around being like, well, I'm going to be my authentic self, and that's not rude. I'm being real, so too bad, suck it up. And you know what? Maybe it's not rude. Sure, okay, it's not rude to be your authentic self. But you know what? Sometimes being your authentic self around people who can't receive it is not kind. It's not kind. And you might say, well, who cares? I don't have to go around being kind. Okay, yes, you want to be your true self? Awesome, go for it. If you want to change the world by being authentic, then you have to be aware that some people can't receive it. And if they can't receive it, you're not changing the world. Like, do you get that? So if you're pushing your authentic self onto people, that's not going to open up the space for them to create change. Because they can't hear it, or they can't receive you yet. So how can you be a chameleon and use your capacities as a chameleon to be the gentle invitation to change, rather than pushing your authentic self onto people, whether they like it or not? Damn it. Is that the space to create change? Or would a more gentle invitation, would changing your colors to invite that person to something different be more of a contribution? Yeah, so just looking in the chat room, authenticity is a beingness, not a doing. Yeah, thanks, Rhonda. Exactly. Like, there's no doing in authenticity. You don't have to do your authentic self. You just have to be yourself. You have to be yourself. And there are times that being yourself may not be received, and that's okay. You don't have to want to be received. However, if there is a change you are trying to create, if there's a change that you want to impact, you need to be aware of what people can hear. Do you get that? I'm not suggesting that you turn yourself down. And I think the key there is that you don't have to believe what you're doing. So when you change your colors, you don't have to actually start believing that you're that other color. You just need to be willing to change, while also knowing that you are still all of you, in order to be received and be the catalyst for the change. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I know it's a little bit funky, and it's a little bit like a weird conversation to be having. I'm not at all suggesting that you deny who you are or that you change who you are, but that you acknowledge that actually you can be everything. You are all of it. You are all of it. You are everything. You can be everything. And you are free to express all of yourself all of the time without fear of judgment of others. And if you would like to create a change, you also need to be aware of which colors are going to be the invitation for the other person to choose change. So I just feel like I need to clear some energy on that. So, everything that is, all the energy on that, will you please, everything that does not allow you to be the catalyst of change by changing your colors, will you destroy and uncreate all of that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so we are going to go to break. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living. This is Chameleons Are Not Inauthentic. They're smart. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back and continue this conversation.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on a2zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bar session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Thanks for being here today. We are talking about chameleons are not inauthentic. They're smart. So we're talking about today the wrongness that has been associated with being a chameleon, changing your spots, changing your colors, being indecisive, being a variable, and all of the interesting points of view that are around that, and how we can change it, and how we can actually, how we're being willing to embrace the chameleon that you are is actually a capacity that you have that can change the world if you would get out of judgment of it and start owning it. So I came across a quote from Lana Del Rey that says, "I was always an unusual girl. My mother told me I had a chameleon soul. No moral compass pointing due north. No fixed personality, just an inner indecisiveness that was as wide and as wavering as the ocean." Really interesting. So how much have we decided that if you are a chameleon, if you have a chameleon soul, then it means that you have no moral compass pointing north, that you have no fixed personality, just an inner indecisiveness, and that this is wrong. And like when I read no fixed personality, I'm like, woohoo, thank God, no fixed personality. Who wants to have a fixed personality? It's way more fun to choose what you're going to be every 10 seconds and to choose something different every 10 seconds. As wide and as wavering as the ocean. Oh my God, thank you. Yes, I will have some of that, please. I will have that space as wide and as wavering as the ocean, and the ability to choose to be whatever and anything that I would like to be, and to ask a question about what can I be, what color can I wear. Thank you to Rhonda in the chat room, by the way, for that. What color can we wear that will contribute the greatest in any given moment? It's just like putting on a different color shirt. You don't really change who you are. You're just changing the shirts. You're just changing your colors. And how much can you change by how much change can you create by changing your colors and blending in and sneakily changing the world? So what have we decided is wrong here? Changing yourself is bad. So everywhere that you were told that changing yourself is bad, that you should know who you are and be that thing, you have to find out who you are and then be that one thing, and that changing all the time means that you're fickle. Fickle, by the way, means false, treacherous, deceptive, deceitful, deceiving. So I think that's the other energy of the chameleon, is that the chameleon is a liar, is deceitful. Someone who changes their colors to suit the environment is hiding something, is being deceitful. So everywhere you have judged yourself for being deceitful, or everywhere someone has judged you for being fickle, for being a liar, for being hiding something because you are being the chameleon that you truly be, can you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Just looking in the chat room. So Christina's just describing a conversation that she had with someone who is a quote-unquote spiritual woman. She said that she is of the light, not of this world. She was so adamant that she was pure and authentic and not like anyone else here, and she couldn't possibly be around all of this superiority and judgment. Oh my God, yes. So how exactly? So this is my point. Like, take a look at how this idea of authenticity is really being twisted in a way that allows people to come from superiority. And I just feel like there's such an energy of hiding of a capacity here. And so, like, all of the energies that are really trying to keep people from being all of them, and all of the energies that are really, really trying to stop people from being everything that they are, the chameleons that they truly are. And they're doing that by taking this beautiful thing called being all of you and being yourself and being truly authentic and twisting it into superiority. And all of the evil, I'm going to say, that is hiding behind the mask of authenticity. Can we please destroy and uncreate all of that and send all of those energies packing back to wherever they came from? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah, like, how much have we taken this beautiful thing called being yourself and being all of you and turning yourself up all the way and bastardizing that and changing it into superiority? You have to be in the question of what's going to contribute at all times. You can't take on a point of view. You can't take on a point of view and just push with it. You need to be in the question about what's going to be the greatest contribution. And this is the thing about conclusions instead of questions. We make conclusions and we make judgments about things that we decide are positive, but it's not the greatest contribution. It's not the greatest contribution to just take a conclusion and push with it. We need to be in the question always of what's required. We are going to take a break. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on A2Zen.fm. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on A2Zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dane here, and I would like to invite you to an adventure in being. I've just written and finished a new book known as Being You, Changing the World. Are you one of those dreamers? One of those people who's always known that other possibilities should be available but haven't yet been able to see them be created? Well, I wrote this book for you. In it, you'll find tools, processes, and unique perspectives to change the things you've always wanted to change but didn't know how. In it, you'll find an invitation to a different possibility for a way that we can be in this world that changes not only our lives, but by being us, allows us to contribute to changing everything planet-wide that doesn't work. Are you aware that truly great people, truly being them, is the only thing that has ever created a great change on this planet? Are you willing to step up? Are you willing to be one? Check out a copy of my new book, Being You, Changing the World. I invite you to go to beingyoubook.com for a free gift.
Do you know a child who is frustrated and disruptive in class? Who struggles to connect? Who's bright but still not making the grade? Have you ever wished that there were a kinder, gentler way to support children with difficulties in school or at home? Many children find access bars is benefiting them greatly. A study is being conducted to document findings in an effort to assist kids everywhere with these life-changing benefits. Will you donate and help to assist kids thrive? Visit www.accessyourbrilliance.com to support our study. What else is possible for kids now more than ever?
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Today our topic is called Chameleons Are Not Inauthentic. They're smart. And we're talking about the willingness to change yourself. No, not change yourself. To change, yeah, okay, you know what, let's just go there. The willingness to change yourself. So everywhere you have decided that it's wrong to change yourself, that you should not change yourself, everywhere you've taken on this point of view that being everything that you are is the best way to be and the only way to be every day, all the time, 24/7, no matter who likes it or who doesn't like it. Too bad, suck it up, this is me, here, have it. Can you please destroy and uncreate all of that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Please be aware that what I am talking about is, yes, be all of you, and also ask some questions about what is required and what is going to be received and what is required to create the change we really know we can create. Be all of you. But being all of you doesn't necessarily mean you have to show all of you all the time, because that may not be the best contribution to the situation. Would you be willing to change your colors while also knowing underneath it all that you are still all of you, that you are being all of you? Being all of you doesn't mean that you have to push who you've decided you are onto someone else. There may be situations where being the chameleon, changing your colors, blending in a little bit, saying that thing that the other person is able to hear may actually be the greatest contribution to change, and may actually be the invitation that's required. Please be in the question. This is my point with this radio show. Please, this topic today, please be in the question about what's going to be the greatest contribution. You don't have to change yourself to show something to the world that is an invitation. Do you get that? The problem lies in you buying it as real and judging it. So if you are blending in and then you're going to judgment of yourself, oh my God, look at what I'm doing, I'm blending in, I'm not being authentic, you're missing the gift. Stop it. Stop it. Don't judge it, because now you're stopping it. You're stopping the gift. You need to be willing to be the catalyst for change. And if you want to be a catalyst for change, that means you need to be willing to be everything and be anything, all energies, all colors, anything, whatever is required, without judgment of yourself. Would you be willing to be fake if that's what's required? And everywhere you are resisting being fake because you think that the best way to be is to be yourself, and we are resisting it so much that it's actually creating shit and not putting you in question and not creating change, not allowing you to be the catalyst for change. Can you please destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Remember, the chameleon is not only brown. The chameleon is red, and is green, and is blue, and is yellow, and is brown, and is purple and orange, and whatever the heck it wants to be. It can choose to be any of those things. And if there's a situation where something requires you to lie, would you please be willing to not judge yourself for that? And be willing to look at it as a capacity. Catalyst. Would you be willing to be the catalyst for change? This word catalyst keeps coming up because a catalyst is something that creates a change without changing itself. So would you be willing to be the catalyst by changing your colors while also knowing that you're not changing yourself? It's okay. You don't have to judge yourself for being a flake or for being fickle. You just need to be willing to play with whatever is showing up and with whatever is required to create the change. But don't buy it. Don't buy your lies. If you're around people and you know that there's something that they can't hear, then change what you're saying. Change what you're saying in a way that will allow them to hear it. But you don't have to change you. You don't have to change your point of view. You don't have to change your point of view for anyone. If you're interested in creating change on this planet, you need to be willing to be all energies, all colors, and know that by changing those colors and by changing your energies, you're not actually being inauthentic. You're not changing you. And who have you decided you are anyways? Who have you decided you are? Because you can be everything, and you can be anything, and you can change your mind every 10 seconds. You can change who you are every 10 seconds. How fun is that? So here's a question that is one of the tools in Access Consciousness. Who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventures can I have? So who are you today? You can embrace the idea of being different every single day. You don't have to be one way. How much fun could you have being something different every day? Remember that everything is available to you. You are everything. You're not being fake. You're not being something else. You're tapping into all of you. You're just tapping into all of you and being what's required. You're being the chameleon. You're tapping into the red. You're tapping into the blue. Then you're tapping into the brown. You're being all of the things that are available to you. You are not being fickle. You're not being fake. You're not cutting off the real you because you are everything. So please look at what you have decided you are. What are all the things you have decided you are? And what are all the definitions of you that are holding you back, that are not allowing you to be everything, and that are not allowing you to create the change in the world that you're really capable of by being the catalyst? Variable. You can be variable. It is an enormous contribution to be variable in this world. You do not have to be one way. I've said it probably 1,000 times. I think this is maybe the underlying message. You do not have to be only one way. And when you change yourself, when you change things about yourself, you are not changing the real you. And see, it feels so weird coming out of my mouth, the real you. And when there's a tool in Access, something is heavy, it's a lie. What is the real you? What does this mean? What does the idea of the real you even mean? Is it a lie? Is it this thing that we've decided we have to be the real us? I have to be the real me. I have to be the real me. What is that? Is it even a lie? Is the idea of the real me even a lie? Because what if you just be? What if you don't have to be you? What if you just be? Because being you, the idea of being you can be a limitation, because what have you decided you is? What have you decided you is? You are everything and anything. Be careful with that. And I think I've caught myself on that a lot. Like, I have to be me. But what have I decided me is? So you know what? I'm going to just be instead of being me. Just be. Be red. Then be blue. Then be green. Just for fun. And if the situation calls for blue, be blue. And don't feel bad about it. And don't doubt yourself. Oh my God, I'm blue. Maybe I was never red. Maybe I was never red. And the other day I was yellow. Was I even really yellow? Was that the real me? Please, you can be everything. And ask questions about what it's going to take to create a change. If that is what you desire, if you are in a situation, if you would like to create a change, ask yourself, who do I have to be? Who do I have to be here? What do I have to be? What energy can I be? What space can I be? What consciousness can I be? Who do I have to be? What color do I have to show in order to be the invitation for change, in order to be a catalyst for change? Which part of my beingness can I play with right now in order to create change? You are all of it. You're not only this and the other stuff is not you. It's a lie. It's not true that you're only one way. You are everything, and you can be everything. So you do not need to judge yourself for being a chameleon. Being a chameleon is a gift. The willingness to be a chameleon is an even greater gift, as an amazing capacity, is exciting. Be willing to be the chameleon that you truly are, because by changing what people see is the awareness of what people can receive. So all of you chameleons, do you actually have an incredible amount of awareness of what can be received and what cannot be received? And do you have the willingness to change that because you desire to create change? Awesome. Please acknowledge yourself for that. Please acknowledge yourself for the fact that you are aware of what people can and can't hear, and you have the willingness to shift and change your shape and change your color to be the catalyst, to be the invitation. You're not changing yourself so that people will like you. You are changing yourself so that you can be the invitation, because you know what change is required to be the invitation. It's okay. It's awesome. It is awesome. So thank you so much for listening, for being here. Thank you to my chat room friends for playing in the chat room today. It's been a bit of an intense topic. Be the chameleon that you truly be. Thank you, all of you, for listening to Messy Adventures in Living. I will see you again next time. Goodbye. Have fun changing and being the chameleon that you truly be. Catalysts of change we are. See you next time.
Thanks for playing with us on Messy Adventures in Living. Petrina Fava will return next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, and 6 a.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We'd love to have you join us again. Until then, have fun creating your phenomenal life, mess and all.